Welcome to the PCS Edventures Educator Spotlight Series. In today's sponsored feature story, we're exploring what does the Eiffel Tower and Mayan Pyramids have to do with a small town library? We spoke with Brianna Noriega to find out how she used Brick Lab Famous Architecture by PCS Edventures to unite book lovers and builders under the same roof. All right, so Brianna, we got to chat a little bit last week, which I loved. I'm hearing about your program in your very small town and your small library that you run. Let's dive in and talk specifically about the Brick Lab Famous Architecture. When you first got this kit, when it arrived, tell me kind of what your first reaction was when you're opening up the box.
Yeah, so we received it last spring. This is my first experience with Brick Labs. So it was kind of neat to I was thinking of just like, okay, we're going to get like a little bit of like building blocks or something like that. I was not expecting the learning material that went along with it, the architectural aspect of it. And so it was kind of neat opening up and looking at that book because you could read about each architect that you could try and build with the Brick Labs. So that was kind of neat. And then realizing how much we received in just a box so that you could make all those different architectural structures was neat. I enjoyed it. I played with them as soon as I got them. So
that is so fun. What are some of the things that either you've learned right along with the kids or the kids have noticed when they're building something? What are some of those like aha moments of, wow, this is what a miniature version of this real building that's in another country?
Well, as for the architectural aspect of it, the kids have really enjoyed building like the Eiffel Tower or the Egyptian pyramids and seeing what the book says, but seeing if they can make it even bigger than what the book says. So they're using their critical thinking skills to see what they can make, how they can make it, and if they can't find the right piece, what can, adjust to it. And so it's nice to see those wheels turning in their head as they're learning to adapt to their structure. As for the other creativity side of the children, I've learned a lot about Star Trek with them or Star Wars because they're building, those ships or whatever. And seeing how they get so excited that they've built something that they're passionate about.
I love that. And what are some of the age ranges? I know with your small town setup, it's kind of had the gamut. Talk to me about how some of these programs can be applicable or kind of entice many different ages.
Yeah, so we, like you said, in the summertime, we age clear up into the teens for people coming in. So, pre-K clear to the teenager age. They sit there and play with it. The teenagers, of course, they like to build their towers and then, crash them down. Like the pre-K is kind of interesting how their minds, switch back to that part. But as for those younger, that middle age, they're really into, seeing the structures come together as one. And so it's nice that, during the summer we have more influx of children coming in. So then they feed off of each other. Well, if that person's doing this, what can I do better? And it's kind of seeing that competitive aspect of it. During the winter months, yeah, we do have more of just the pre-K, some kindergartners that are coming in just because of the school year being in session. And that's when the moms and the parents really start to engage with their kids because they have that one-on-one time with their kids where they're not having to focus their time amongst their other children. And so they're learning that with their child, how to build things together and how to think, and they watch their child develop in critical thinking as well. But they also have fun because they're wanting to kind of bring out their own childness in them.
Yeah, totally. And you've got your cute kiddo right there.
Yes.
Wants to jump on. How has this made your job easier, I guess, with having something kind of ready to go for patrons that come in?
It's made it easy for the aspect of when people are coming in and they're not wanting to just read a book. They're wanting to, engage in something else than reading, or maybe they're wanting to take a break from reading, they can go in there into we have a kids area that has the brick labs in them, and the kids can kind of divide their attention across that. So it's made it easier for me. So I'm not having to sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I don't have anything interesting for you. Now I have something that can interest them. So they're able to do something more than just read here at the library now.
I love that. That's great. What would you say some of the best takeaways are from some of these build projects with architecture? Like, what are some of those little things that you've noticed with some of the kids?
Well, I've watched one child. She was building a structure, and it was kind of like a building, but she made it so that one of the bricks opened up as a window. And it was an aha moment for me, because I would have never thought of like making a brick as a window. Like I'm like, okay, here's a brick. Let's stack it onto each other, and see how far we can go from there. But she like made this cubby and then a brick that she could use as a window or a door, so that she could put things into that cubby of her.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like,
That's cool.
is total outside the box thinking on her end, because I would have never thought of that. So it's kind of nice to see, again, the different creativity skills, the artistic skills, the architectural skills, I guess, that you need, coming up with a design, implementing that design, and then even, going as far as what can I do more with that design?
Yeah. And I think you nailed it by saying thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
That's great. And what would you say to other colleagues, I guess, other librarians out there, or other, traditional teachers that are looking to implement, more STEM into their learning environment? What would you say is the biggest takeaway? What would you say to them that would maybe encourage them to start integrating some more of this, specifically with this brick lab architecture?
With this brick lab architecture, another thing that I pulled away from it is that you're not only building with it, but you can also use it as for math skills, your bricks, counting your bricks, or if you have 5 bricks in this pile and 5 bricks in this pile, how many bricks do you have as a group? You can integrate, math skills, arithmetic into your building with these architectural brick labs. And that's what I really like pulling away from it. Not only is the child able to engage in it, but if they were needing more other skills, then it gives them an avenue of being excited and it turns into a game. And when you're playing, it doesn't feel like learning. And that's what kids really enjoy.
That's perfect. Yep. No, I think you nailed it. I think it's not, something that's maybe marketed for one thing ends up crossing over into several other realms of not only are they going to get STEM skills, building and things like that, but then you've got the math right there, and even sorting based on color and all sorts of things. So yeah, I love that. Is there anything else that I haven't asked specifically that you would like to share?
I think that they're a great product. They're great for all ages, because they don't understand quite as much as the older kids, but they're understanding the feel and the texture. So they're getting, sensory skills and even fine motor skills with them. So I think that, these are great for all ages. They're so diverse in what you can do with them.
That's great. Yeah. And then as they get older, then they can follow the booklet. Like you were saying, you were surprised that there was actually going to be all this curriculum that went along with it. Yeah.
So the upper ages, you have the ones that, are very, okay, I got to follow each step as the book describes it. And then you have the ones that are, I don't need the book, but I like to read about the history or the structure itself. And then, well, what if they would have changed this? Or what if I would have changed that? Would the building still hold like the true structure is? The older kids, they play with it a little bit more. They try to model it to their creativity.
A big thanks to Brianna for sharing her story and showing us how she implemented Brick Lab famous architecture. To listen to more stories from educators like you, visit edventures.com/spotlight. That's EDVENTURES.com/spotlight.